Governor Gavin Newsom started a podcast recently, and he brought on 3 guests. His first guest was Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk, of course, a staunch right-winger, Mr. Turning Point USA, a guy who goes around to college campuses, fairly solid debater, also a hardcore extremist who has said gays should be stoned to death. So he's a pretty extreme guy. Steve Bannon arguably is even more extreme, and Steve Bannon was Newsom's next guest, a guy who was called Elon Musk evil and racist for supporting H-1B visas for Indians. And then his last guest is the least well-known, and it's Michael Savage. Michael Savage is a totally extreme guy who has said that Trump's win in 2016 saved white people from slavery. So he brought on 3 MAGA extremists, and he's getting called out for it, deservedly so. One person who's calling him out for it is not a blazing lefty, but actually a Republican, Adam Kinzinger, a guy who has said that he's more like a Democrat now. But yeah, as a Republican, he was a lot more critical of Trump than any other Republican, arguably, except maybe Liz Cheney, who's equal to him. But yeah, Adam Kinzinger wrote on X, "Hey Democrats, Gavin Newsom wants you to know he has a lot in common with MAGA. How does that make you feel?" In response to an article that says, "Governor Gavin Newsom finds surprising common ground with influential MAGA voices." Yeah, dude, real good posture. He says, you need to stop looking at everything I do through the lens of, is this guy running in 2028? But how can we not? How can we not? He's a governor. He's a Democrat. 2028 has no clear front runner. People talked about him replacing Joe Biden in 2024. He obviously has presidential aspirations. He's a good talker. He's a good debater. He probably knows that. He probably knows that he could clean house with a Republican on the debate stage, or at least he thinks his chances of doing that would be pretty darn good. So Adam Kinzinger's right here. How does this help him in a Democratic primary? I mean, it would be one thing if he brought on centrist Republicans. So like Liz Cheney would be less alienating than that, because Liz Cheney is at least a little more similar to the Democrats than Charlie Kirk, Steve Bannon, and Michael Savage. But really, these are your first guests. You're not bringing on some other Democratic politicians, some people in the media. Look, I get the optics of wanting to be like, hey, look how cool I am. I bring on people of all different perspectives. I'm just that friendly and chill, and I'm just a normal guy who wins people over no matter their political persuasion. But we have to keep in mind what actually happened on those shows, what happened on the podcast. Charlie Kirk was going after Gavin Newsom, and Gavin Newsom was being really meek and not really pushing back on him. Steve Bannon did election denialism on the podcast. He denied that Biden won the 2020 election, and Gavin Newsom basically didn't push back at all. He let Steve Bannon run roughshod over him. Michael Savage, again, just the idea of platforming this guy is insane. The guy yelled at a caller on his show one time to get AIDS and die. This is someone who's just totally off in the wilderness, the extremist wilderness. Imagine having a reasonable conversation with a guy like that. You pretty much can't. So it speaks volumes that he's bringing these people on. It really does. Like, what on earth? What are voters supposed to make of this? Now, he'll probably hope that people forget by the time 2028 rolls around. And I bet on X there's going to be a bunch of people in Gavin Newsom's replies when he's, spouting all this grandiose rhetoric on X. A bunch of people in his replies posting clips of him with Steve Bannon, Charlie Kirk, and Michael Savage, just going after him, pointing out, we can't get this guy. I bet Democratic politicians who are running against him for the primary in 2028 will run ads against him. I hope Adam Kinzinger speaks in those ads and roasts him for it too. That would be pretty hilarious. But yeah, not really a good look at all from Newsom. It's one thing to be a moderate Democrat, a Democrat who is able to admit that the right is right on some things, but to be like this, to bring on some of the worst people in the country, the most hateful people in the country, people who screech about how different groups of people are evil for a living and bad, and we have to stop the gays, and white slavery. This is what these people are focused on. They don't have priorities that are similar to progressives or the progressive base. No way, not at all. The progressive base wants to help people. They want to give people higher wages, better healthcare, coverage for pre-existing conditions, better education. They're not concerned about white slavery, something that has never been on the table once. Trump lost in 2020, and there was not white slavery installed. This man is a total lunatic, Michael Savage. Steve Bannon, again, this guy is a criminal. This is a guy who's attacked Elon Musk for saying he likes H-1B visas. He's called him evil and racist for that. And then Charlie Kirk, Charlie Kirk is more moderate than those other 2 guys, but that's not saying much. Yeah, they're all extremists. They're all extremely alienating, and you will get the tar beaten out of you in the primary for doing this, Gavin Newsom. Hear me out. You will rue the day. You will rue the day. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Credit to Adam Kinzinger for calling Gavin Newsom out. Like, comment, or subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching. This has been the Morris the Merrier, and I look forward to speaking to you in my next video.